Another Prince racket review, another top 10 contender. The reason why I am not saying it is a top 10 racket yet, it is because I'm testing too many rackets. When I release my top 10 rackets of my choice, I want the list to be more solid and less prone to changes. Prince Tour 100P. Great racket. First things that I noticed, it is positioned similarly to Head Speed Pro when it comes to the performance and player's identity. By that I mean it is best when you catch the ball on a rise, hit more through the ball. It has similar pros and cons to the Speed Pro, meaning it is not the best in spin. It offers spin through the bigger spin window, bigger head size, but 18-20 string pattern limits the spin potential, so it's better to hit it more clean and through the ball. You can still spin it, but access to power is probably easier, better, bigger than with the spin. So the ratio of power to spin is a bit unbalanced. Similarly to what I experienced with the Speed Pro, when I try to hit with more power, there is a threshold of my acceleration, how much I need to accelerate with my wrist, import spin, to bring back the ball down from this added power. And if you want to create margin above the net, yeah, you have to use spin to control the ball. That's why it is a bit easier sometimes to catch the ball maybe higher, but hit more through the ball and let the gravity do its job. Speed Pro, similar concept, I would say. So pros and cons, more forgiving. Spin, you have to accelerate with your wrist much more compared to, let's say, Gravity Tour, now from Prince Tour 98, Head Extreme Pro. You get the point. There are some frames that are just giving you more spin automatically, and you have the choice to play with more spin, to shape the ball. Maybe hitting flat is a bit more tricky with this type of rackets. Depends on your swing style, to be honest. With the Prince Tour 100P, obviously you can spin the ball really hard. It's just a matter of how much you commit to the shot. Biggest difference, because now I started comparing it to the Speed Pro, I think the flex style is a bit different. Obviously the beam width is a bit different, and that's why maybe I felt the difference in flex style. I felt like the string bed or frame is more responsive. It pockets the ball a bit deeper and shoots out slightly in a more trampoline-like way, which I'm not the biggest fan of. But at the same time, I'm a fan of it being more responsive than the Speed Pro. With the Speed Pro, when the balls go dead or the weather gets colder, it is harder to generate power. So Speed Pro is really great, shines when you want to counter-attack, when the opponent is giving you the power with which you can work with. And Prince Tour 100P gives me more power on command. The access to power is just better, so I am less vulnerable to my opponent's playstyle. I can stick to the baseline, I can step in, I can go back, and the response is just easier. It is just easier to push back the ball and do some damage without forcing yourself to do it. With the Speed Pro, when the ball is slow, yeah, you have to step in a bit more, and that's maybe where I struggle with. Sometimes I just want to stay calm and build the point, and with the Speed Pro you kind of have to be aggressive, and that's why it's easier to play as a counter puncher, because the ball is coming to you fast, and that's why you're moving fast to keep up with the ball, so automatically your kinetic chain is a bit more aggressive. With the Prince 100P, if the ball is slow, I can kind of adjust to the pace and still hit it back deep, yeah, much easier. Is it better? Is it worse? It totally depends on your play style, but this slight trampoline effect, pocketing sensation, might take away some of the confidence. It is great if you have a frame with which you can just step in and crush the ball. Prince Tour 100p might take some time, adjustment time, when it comes to feel and type of response. One thing that I liked with this frame a lot is the wave distribution. I was shocked when I found out it is a 305 grams racket. It felt like 310, 315 maybe even. You have some mass with which you can work with. By that I mean the sensation. And tennis is a feel-based sport, so you have to feel the mass that you can then throw into the ball and create performance. Some rackets, even if they are heavier and the wave distribution make them feel anemic or empty or just too fast, they don't offer you enough mass that you can transition into this power and spin. So I'm thinking now about Yonex Percept 97. It is heavier, but does it really feel heavy, or does it really offer me more plow through? No. And this one, despite being lighter, and same when it comes to balance point, it felt like the head takes over and yeah, plows through the ball very good. Now, when it comes to my decision, how much I really like it, is it a potential switch for me? I am adding some mass to the racket to find a bit more of something. I'm not quite sure what is it. I think I'm just trying to make it more aggressive when it comes to extension, or just closing this wrist acceleration to get more either plow through, this solidness, so maybe underline, highlight what was already great with this frame, or maybe find a bit easier wrist acceleration, so maybe a leather grip to make it more heavy, but headlights, so more headlight setups are easier to manipulate the head, make the frame more spin friendly. That's one point. Maybe some mass at the top, so again it is a bit easier to maybe not manipulate the wrist, but throw the wrist through the ball and get spin through that. So yeah, polarize a bit more, or maybe just add more static wave. I'm still experimenting, and the biggest question is how the frame will be boosted in power, and can I control this power, because like I said, the ratio of power to spin is a little bit unbalanced, but not to the point where it's strange. It's similar to some other rackets that I play tested, and Speed Pro is the closest competitor. So highlight of the Prince 100p, great forgiveness, great identity, a bit easier performance compared to some other similar rackets like Speed Pro Blade 98 1820. The biggest question for you is the flex style. It is less uniform, it pockets the ball deeper, shoots out in a more responsive way, more trampoline-like. I used here Laxalon Original, which is a 130 gauge, 22 kilos, so relatively stiff. Some might call it boardy string, which kills the response, yet I still felt it. So with 120 string, I think this racket might be a rocket launcher, or maybe you just have to string it tighter. That's another option to play with the balance of this power to spin ratio. 98 Tour to me felt like a more uniform flex, more solid on contact. I have more confidence with this type of response, where you can keep the ball long on the string bed, but the sensation is kinda same. And here it is more juicy, it is giving you more feel, more sensation, and sometimes I get lost in this feel when I play with this type of flex styles. So Prince Tour 98, yeah, cleaner feel. Prince Tour 100p, the feel is more rich. It's your choice. What do you want to feel? That's it for this review. Make sure to subscribe and see you soon. Bye bye.